All right, here we go. We are starting with chapter 23 today. Chapter 23. You. Chapter 23. Christine. You can come out now. The woman's voice echoed in the bathroom. Sighing, I crawled off the toilet seat, sheeting from behind the half-closed stall door. I'm chewing on my words already. Hooray! Vocal warm-ups for what? Toilet seat. Sheepishly appeared. I crawled off the toilet seat, sheepishly appearing from behind the half-closed stall door. I'd run like some rabbit. No, like a bad bunny. The moment I'd seen Stephen, I'd panicked. Thanks, Margie. I owe you one. Girl, what in the hell have you gotten yourself mixed up in? While I watched my coworker wash her hands, I moved against the cinder block wall, uncertain how to answer. I didn't intend to meet Stephen Masters. He kind of crashed into my world, and he's not the kind of guy who takes no for an answer. No, evidently he doesn't. You're new to the game of hockey, but my man never misses a game. If there are two on, he'll have both our televisions tuned in and run from room to room to catch plays. It's comical. Saint and Stephen Masters are the best players in the world, hands down. Stephen is up and coming, and both men have a temper, but they are like golden retrievers. You don't need to worry. What does that mean? I chortled. You know, hearts of gold under their fluffy exterior. What's up, Carmen? Fluffy exterior? I wouldn't say Stephen had a fluffy exterior. Not by a long shot. Unless you wanted to call him a grizzly bear in a human suit. Jesus. There were likely grizzly shifters. Oh, okay. What was that? Oopsies. What that man just said was, wow. But he lied to me. You heard him admit it. While grabbing a paper towel, she eyed me carefully. Yeah, he did, girl. But did you hear how sorry he was? Men can't fake that shit. Shrugging, I kicked the toe of my tennis shoe against the tile floor, my stomach abuzz with butterflies. A buzz. With butterflies. What's up, YouTube? Okay. We'll scroll, let the loud vehicle drive by. Where's the word butterflies? Should be easy to find. There it is. The electricity I'd felt with having him so close had nearly pushed me into making myself known. But I was determined to stay angry with him. After all, he had lied to me. Did you hear what he lied about? Two pretty big things. Well, you obviously made it apparent that you hate hockey players, and girl, I don't know why. That man is hot as Hades. And then some. He could put the peanut butter to my jelly, the cream in my coffee. Hell, the cream in my mouth, sugar. Margie, stop. Well, you're not claiming him. And you're married. Margie waved her hand before tossing the trash. Oh, that party pooper. Teehee. What's up, Tilly? Welcome. Good morning. Party pooper. Party pooper. Why had I felt a twinge of jealousy, along with the extended version of feeling electrocuted? Because you miss you. Because you like him. Because you hunger for him. Sadly, all true. Garage in the parking lot. I'd been sick to my stomach. When he'd signed that girl's breasts, I'd been mortified. And I'd wished it were me. What did that say about my moral turpitude? What about him being a shifter? I pressed. At least I knew I'd get the truth out of Margie. She was that kind of woman. Well, I've been involved with some pretty furry men in my life. They are much more adventurous in the bedroom, if you ask me. I think this is a bit different. She leaned forward, winking at me. Is it really? What's a little fur now and again? Besides, what if Stephen said was true? Oopsies. Besides, if what Stephen said is true, you don't need to worry about running through the woods buck naked. Memories of the night before floated into my mind, heat rising on my face. It had been a whirlwind adventure, all right. I just don't know. Don't wait too long to decide. That man is a hot commodity right now. My guess is, if all goes well, tonight... Ooh, okay, come on. Oh, come on. That man is a hot commodity right now. My guess is, if all goes well tonight with this game, you won't be able to get within 10 feet of him. I thought about what she'd said while my phone buzzed. I'd invited Tawny to come since her boyfriend was already covering the game as a reporter. Then afterwards, we were going out for drinks where she'd help me decompress about being such an idiot. Oh, my dog's barking. All right, Tilly, thanks for sharing. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you. Being such an idiot. Oops, let's scroll down. Being such an idiot. Let's let the loud vehicle drive by. Let's enjoy my dog still barking a little bit. My neighbor and their dog walk by like clockwork, and it is about that time. My dogs let me know every day. Being such an idiot. Oh, I'm doing well. I'm doing okay. You see I don't know if you can see it. Do you see the triangle suntan I have on my head? You can kind of see the line, right? I wore a backwards hat yesterday and I got sunburned. Oh, so now I get a triangle on my head all day long. I am so excited. Being such an idiot. The mill pond. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, here we go. Being such an idiot. Or maybe, if I can find my spot, there it is. Being such an idiot. Remember what I said? I've never seen a boy so into a girl. That has to be worth something. Oh yeah, did he really replant the flowers last night? Since I had the phone in my hand, I flipped to the photographs I'd taken. He did. She whistled after a few seconds. Yeah, that boy meant what he said. He loves you. Maybe watch some of the game? I'm working, and they always have the game on in the concession booths. Plus, I happen to notice you're working closest to the ice. You'll have a bird's-eye view of the game. I'll be too busy. I cringed, seeing her accusatory glare. Have it your way, but you could be missing out on something special. Love. What could he know about love? I mean, seriously, what could a bad boy hockey player know? Bad boy hockey player know. Well, I couldn't worry about that now. I had to be behind the concession stand in 5 minutes. I'd better hurry. I had to rush through a huge crowd of people, but made it just in time. Maybe my almost tardiness was because I'd stopped to stare at the ice. I'd been working the concessions for several months, yet had never really paid any attention to a single event. I was here to do my job and leave. Tonight, I was tingling all over, and I couldn't understand why. He already told you why. You're his mate. No, I'm not. Great. Now I was speaking to myself. I'd remained in a fog the entire day, and it had nothing to do with alcohol from the night before. Maybe the fact my mother had called twice was keeping me on edge. She hadn't been nice in her voicemails either. Then again, she never was. What made me really angry was her continued harsh words about me skating. I hadn't become ill because of my fucking fuck. He's skating. I hadn't become ill because of figure skating. Besides, I was a freaking adult and would run my own life, period. Hey girl, Tawny appeared, scaring the bejeebers out of me. Scaring the bejeebers out of me. Enough so I jumped. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you, even if you were talking to yourself. What's that all about? Wondering about the hot man who adores you? Stop, he doesn't adore me. I told her what had happened. Well, at least some of the horrific events that would forever alter my life. What if I hadn't used the get-out-of-jail-free card? Would the ugly secrets have been kept in the dark? I just couldn't think about that right now. If they had, he'd still be lying to me. No, my father had recognized him the second we'd walked into the room. No, my father had recognized him the second we'd walked into the room. I'd seen the flash in his eyes, and I'd let it drop. I also knew my father far too well. I should have known, hands down, he'd been up to something. He'd seized the opportunity karma had presented him like a dying man tossed a life raft. And did I say lifed with an ED? No, I said it right. And he'd enjoyed every second of the ruse. I could only imagine what my father would do with the information. He'd try to ruin the Masters brothers. I couldn't allow that to happen. Are you okay? You look flushed. And he does adore you. I shook my head while tying my apron. I'm fine. I've just got a lot on my mind. I can imagine. Did you set another appointment? Her reminder of just how much my life sucked hit me hard. It's Saturday. I'll take care of it on Monday. Scroll! I'll take care of it on Monday. Burp. I'll take care of it on Monday. They schedule appointments online now. You need to take care of you. Go watch the game with the reporter boyfriend. Oh, hold on, let me say that right. Take care of you. Go watch the game with your reporter boyfriend of yours. She giggled. No matter what happens with the game tonight, Jeff is set on an exclusive interview beginning during the second intermission, then after the finish of the game. Isn't that exciting? Would you like me to have Jeff give Steven your regards? I threatened to toss a bunch of napkins in her direction. Don't you dare. He already knows I'm here. He even tried chasing me down. What? That is exactly what romance novels are made of. This is real life, remember? Novels are made of. Wow, what's up, Brittany? Welcome back. Novels are made of. This is real life, remember? I chastised. Details. How did you get away? I hid in the women's bathroom. Tawny shook her head. Dear God, Chris, you have one hot man after you and you were hiding in the women's bathroom? Fuck your parents. Fuck that he lied to you. I saw the flowers. That was creative and romantic as hell. Jeff never did anything like that for me. You date him. I gotta work. See you after the game. She's making a point. Hello, Brittany. Hello. Welcome. My heart wasn't in the job. Not that it had really ever been before. I was exhausted, riddled with anxiety. Oh my God. Blah. I was exhausted, riddled with anxiety, and in truth, was at the point of hating my life. Knowing that my father would do everything in his power to make the world of the shifters a pure nightmare pissed me off more than anything had in a very long time. I did my best to ignore the game, managing to do so through the first intermission, which was crazy busy. I'd barely had time to think, let alone pay any attention to the game. But with neither team scoring, I could tell the fans were getting antsy. I'd even heard a few boos where What's up, Alexa? Hello, Star. Before getting antsy, let's scroll. I'd even heard a few oh my God. Oh my God, come on. I'd even heard a few boos before intermission had lit. What the fuck? I'd even heard a few boos before the intermission had hit. By the time the second... I'm just fucking throwing mouth sounds out here. By the time the second period had begun, I was drenched in sweat, my ponytail barely holding on, given excessive heat. I'm fucking this sentence up left and right. Wow. I was drenched in gun. There we go. I was drenched in sweat, my ponytail barely holding on, given the excessive heat, and my makeup was likely running down my face. But as happened with every sports game, as soon as the intermission was over, the entire corridor emptied out. I grabbed my drink, trying to cool down. With all the air flowing in, my temperature should be dropping. It wasn't. Plus, my skin was itching. Just like it had when we were headed to my parents' house. I'd done a little Googling during the day, trying to learn as much as I could about shifters. There was much more written about them than I'd realized. Numerous white papers researched by well-respected scientists from various universities throughout the world. The bottom line was that for all the hype presented by the media, all the myths and rumors that had been flying around for almost 2 years, shifters did exist. The phenomenon had been proven through countless scientific tests. No longer could I shove my head into the sand. Especially since I'd exhibited signs of being in heat as a female. I added a whole word. I shoved my head into the sand. What's up, Cassie? Welcome. Especially since I'd exhibited signs of being in heat as female animals did during different periods of their lives. But I was human. At least, that's what my birth certificate said. While the great scientists had yet to come up with a better name for my condition, there'd been hundreds of reports of them in subsequent matings during the 2-year period. In turn, okay, we'll try it again. During the 2-year period. In turn, and at least according to the latest information, several babies had been born to mixed-species couples. Who knew? The announcements had pushed various hospitals into embracing the fact soon there would be a need for an entirely different wellness program geared toward hybrid children. I was still having a tough time wrapping my mind around the fact 2 creatures from different species could be drawn to one another both chemically and emotionally. I'd also found an article written about the debacle on the Today Show incident. They'd insisted they'd been lied to. Some attorney by the name of Michael Weston had threatened a huge lawsuit. I'd done further digging, realizing the lawyer making all the fuss was attached to the Masters family. And boy, did I find several articles on Steven's father, Barrett Masters. The man was practically a legend in the shifter world. I'd been blown away and impressed. When several beads of sweat rolled down both sides of my face, I had to get some air. I headed to the bathroom, splashing water on my face. As soon as I involuntarily scratched my arm again, I held it into the light. There was a light rash covering several inches. Another telltale sign of the mating process. Heat. Oh, you bet. It was like I was having hot flashes 24/7, especially when Steven was within a few hundred yards. Itch. All I had to do was lift my shirt or check my arm. Throbbing pussy. As embarrassing as it was, my cunt hadn't stopped throbbing since the night before. I'd changed panties 4 times because I'd been so wet. The material had been soaked. Swollen nipples. If the anguish caused by the swollen nipples. If the anguish caused by them scraping against the lace of my bra was any indication, I was fully in heat. Oh, thank you for hopping into the end of that, my dog. We'll do it again. Light barks, light barks. I love my triangle. Look at that thing. So smooth. I should have, at least taken my hat off for 3 seconds during the day. Let this chrome dome see the first light of the year. Swollen nipples. Swollen nipples. If the anguish caused by them scraping against the lace of my bra was any indication, I was fully in heat. Huffing, I stormed from behind the stand, refusing to believe what human nature was trying to tell me. I was not Stephen Masters' mate. No way. Impossible. A loud crackling sound, followed by wild applause, drew my attention. I couldn't help myself and headed toward the stadium seating, taking my apron off in the process. I wasn't certain if the team manager or my boss would like me to be seen with the concession stand apron on. Tawny had been right. I had a perfect view of the ice, and I was in awe. This was different than an ice skating event. The energy level was off the charts. Plus, there was a vibe of electricity that could not be denied. Including, I didn't look at my script right. Including buzzing in every muscle in my body. My mind skipped back to what I'd read earlier in the day. Was it really possible karma or Mother Nature or some shifter god above had determined we would be good mates? Almost immediately, my eyes caught Stephen racing down the ice, flicking the black chunky thing around with his stick. No, I had no idea of hockey terms. I couldn't care less. But I didn't need to know what play he was making to know fucking shit. Couldn't care less. But I didn't need to know what play he was making to know they were winning. They'd already scored, and it appeared the beast was already trying to do so again. I found myself walking closer, eager to see if he could do it. Fans were already on their feet, cheering the home team, and one man in particular. Beast! 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 He was coming in my direction, sailing across the ice as if he was born gliding on skates. I was shocked how excited I was, happy for him and the entire team. Suddenly, another huge player from the visiting team jumped into Steven's path. I don't think there was a single person in the arena who hadn't sucked in their breath, most now standing and waiting to see what happened. What's up, Archist? Welcome back. Most now standing and waiting to see what happened. I could swear the man knew how to dance. I left out a word. I could swear the man knew how to ice dance. Steven swerved around the guy with a solid spray of ice, and all of a sudden, took a shot. Now, every person in the arena was on their feet. The entire moment pivoted into slow motion. And the puck flew past another huge, gruffy guy trying desperately to catch it. When the black puck was caught in the net, the entire arena went wild. And so did I, including jumping up and down. After making the goal, he threw up his hands, turning in a little spin, and I'd be damned if he didn't notice me. How could he not? I hadn't realized I'd made it to the railing, close enough to the goal that all he'd had to do was to lift his head. The eye contact, even through the eye contact, even though he was wearing a helmet and grid mask, was noticeable enough my skin flushed. Now, the heat was excessive. What did the brat of a man do? He lifted his arm, pointing a finger at me. Then he turned in another little dancing circle before blowing me a kiss with both hands. If that wasn't bad enough, immediately some asshole taking pictures for the Jumbotron turned the camera toward me. Oh shit. But I was quick. You bet I was. I hadn't been trained as an ice skater making quick moves not to use them now. So first, I ducked. Then I ran, rushing back to my position behind the counter, fumbling to jerk the apron over my head. It took several minutes for me to calm down, and just in time for the fuck. It took several minutes for me to calm down, and just in time for the next rush. The intermission was busier than the one before, more beer sold in 15 minutes than I'd ever done. I'd heard the game wasn't a sellout, but you could have fooled me. When I'd served the last customer, I heard my phone ringing. This time I wouldn't dare put myself in a position to catch his eye. No way. Tawny was calling, which was strange in and of itself. But I moved beyond the consent. My fucking stomach just growled. No way. No way. Tawny was calling. No way. Tawny was calling, which was strange in and of itself. But I moved beyond the concession area. Hello? I really can't talk right now. I need to scuttle away like a rat. Was that you on the Jumbotron? What are you talking about? I was already in the habit of lying. Why not more now? Of course not. I'm working. Sure you are. I just wanted to check and see if you noticed your boy had scored. Yeah, I noticed. But he's not my boy. She yawned. Gotta run. It's getting hot in here. Ha ha. I tried to ignore what was going on with the game, but everyone behind the concession stand was now glued to the television. Bye, Tilly. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you later. Was now glued to the television. Was now glued to the television. Was now glued to the television. Okay. There it is. Now glued to the television. Which meant after a little while, I couldn't stand it any. Oopsies. Was now glued to the television. Which meant after a little while, I couldn't stand it any longer, moving behind them. As things became heated, some asshole tried to trip Steven. Hey, he can't do that, I yelled before I knew what I was doing. Can he? My fellow coworkers started to clue me in on what was going on. When a fight almost developed, the referees were all over it. I was glued to the seat, realizing there was an argument between coaches and referees. Then whoever the announcer, Then whoever was the announcer started talking about how the opposing team's coach had accused the Tampa Bay Gators, specifically the Beast, of cheating by using his shifter abilities. Now I was hot under the collar. I had to see them for myself. I rushed toward the same spot where I'd been before, pushing my way through fans who were already on their feet, jeering the referees. So did I, screaming louder than I likely had in my entire life. "You can't do that! He's just a man! A very special man!" There was no chance anyone had heard me. Yet, I felt better in joining in the utter chaos that was being fueled. People were stomping their feet, creating a ruckus, and I could tell by Steven's body language how furious he was. I had no idea what a high stick was. Okay, voice, do the thing, please. I had no idea what a high stick was, but when the call came down and a goal was removed from the board against the Gators, I knew for certain the referee had better have an armed guard when he tried to leave. Now the two teams were tied, 2-2, with 4 minutes left in the game. I'd never heard such comments about any team, but they were heartwarming. I'd never heard such comments about any team, but they were heartwarming. "The Beast is the best! The Beast is a star! Our homeboy!" I stood right where I was, sending subliminal messages to him. And maybe I was crazy, but I could swear he was reading my mind again. He looked up while taking several deep breaths, even ripping off his helmet. This time, I didn't bother ducking. I wasn't even paying attention to anyone else. Only him. As a slow and steady smile crossed his face, just like I'd seen so many times, I did the unthinkable. I blew him a kiss. And he caught it, making a big deal out of capturing something I'd given him. After he pretended to pocket the imaginary kiss, the game was on. And let me tell you, I'd never seen anything so damn exciting in my life. Maybe I'd get fired for spending the rest of the game. Maybe I'd get fired for spending the rest of the last period watching him play, but wild horses couldn't drag me away. The plays were rough, the opposing team on edge and angry. So was every member of the Gators, who worked seamlessly. As the buzzer ticked down, the fans were on their feet again, and in a whirlwind of exchanges, the pucky thing being shifted from one player to another, I had a feeling they were going to play down the clock. Once again, everyone was holding their breath. Finally, the Beast took a shot that could be heard around the entire arena. In what seemed like minutes, but was only seconds, the In what seemed like minutes, but was only seconds, the puck flew under the arm of the dude from the opposite team trying to stop it, hitting the net with flair. And the crowd went wild all over again, just as the buzzer sounded off, ending the game. In the next few minutes, there was crazy activity as the team celebrated the win, hugging and slapping hands. Then they took a victory lap. That's when I backed off, refusing to get in his way. Besides, there would be people eager for one last beer to celebrate. I hurried back to my station, purposely ignoring the celebration. But my heart was fluttering. A crowd formed, eager to soak up the win with a brewski, and I busied myself. Until I noticed a reporter hovering a few yards away. I made the mistake of catching his eye. At the same time, one of my coworkers yanked on my arm. You need to hear this, Christine. I turned around, keeping an eye on the reporter until I couldn't any longer. There was Stephen on the ice talking with Tawny's boyfriend. And what was that? My picture. Oh shit, they had got me on the Jumbotron the second time while blowing him a kiss. My phone rang while I was trying to process the shock. I didn't even bother looking to see who was calling. Oops, we'll try that again. Trying to process the shock. I didn't even bother fuck. Trying to process the shock. I didn't even bother looking to see who was calling. What? I'm a little busy. Yeah, I think you are since you're getting married? What the hell? What? Hearing Tawny's question stunned me. What are you talking about? As she rattled on something about the fact I was the daughter of Senator Carrington, a man running for the a man running for governor. At the same time, I was seeing a horror story unfold on television. I'm trying to tell you, this is the blockbuster story of the year. Jeff is required to run with it. Tawny's warning was a wee bit too late. My mouth dropped open as the camera came in for a close-up on Stephen and Jeff. I understand congratulations are in order, Jeff said, as he held the microphone toward Stephen. Thank you. I think we played a great game, Stephen answered, still whooping and hollering with his team. Actually, I meant because of the upcoming... Oh, fuck. Actually, I meant because of your upcoming nuptials. Just then, a split screen. Just then, a split screen was provided with my picture on it. And I understand Christine is Senator Edward Carrington's daughter, a former national ice skating junior champion who not only is a junior high teacher but also works here at Concessions. And I am curious about how you feel regarding her father's position on whether shifters should be allowed in team sports. What are you talking about? Stephen asked, and I could see the fury in his eyes. He took a step away so he could have a better look at the Jumbotron, which was now flashing little hearts all over our pictures. My stomach sank, my pulse racing. This was a fucking nightmare. I backed away, shaking all over, just as a shout came from behind me. There she is, a woman yelled. Without even realizing what I was doing, I took off running, dodging between people as reporters began to chase me down the corridor. This was absolutely crazy. I flew down the hallway, trying to figure out where to go. If I could gain some momentum, I could make a break for it out the employee entrance. Maybe I could jump into my car before they had me cornered. The damn arena was like a maze, but they kept coming. Sadly, the group of reporters reminded me of wild animals or barbarians chasing after their prey. Somehow, they were gaining on me, even though my legs were pumping. I rushed around a corner, going blindly while glancing over my shoulder. So when I collided with something huge, hard, and impenetrable, I would have screamed had a hand not covered my mouth. I was pulled into the shadows and pushed against the wall. The huge man standing over me was so warm, and jolts of current were flowing, singing every nerve ending. Singeing is the word I was looking for. And jolts of current were flowing, singeing every nerve ending. When the man who'd captured me placed a finger across his lips, I nodded. Just as the mob flew by, And in those seconds of wishing and waiting for them to pass, I realized my captor was none other than the man I was supposed to marry. He finally removed his hand, chuckling under his breath. "I got your message." "Which one?" "That you wanted me to win." I slipped my arms around him. "You did that for me?" What if I did? Then I'd say you're still not getting off the hook for lying to me. However, you're getting warmer." As he lowered his head, still chuckling, my entire body began to sway. So what if he was a big, bad wolf? I always did love dogs. Teehee? A teehee. Let's do a little more. Just a little bit. Let's rename this. Ratatata. Ratatata. Oh, my back. Good lordy. Oh. Drop it low. There we go. Get a little motion in that ocean. Chapter 24. Stephen. The Great Escape. We'd done it. The two of us. My fake fiancé and the beast. I could see the headlines now. While the reporter had seemed professional and with my best interest at heart, at first, just throwing out both the incident with the police, then being confronted with the news of my engagement to garner my... yes! First, just throwing out both the incident with the police, then being confronted with the news of my engagement to garner my reaction for his 15 minutes of fame had almost driven me into shifting. Almost. Lucky for him, I'd had a little thrill when hearing about my engagement, including a photograph I hadn't known had been taken of her. Including a photograph I hadn't known had been taken at her father's big celebration. Whoever had exposed our ruse had done so with bad intent in mind. Karma would kick his or her ass. My anger for her father lingered in the background, and the only reason I hadn't thrown the man under the bus was because of Christine. I couldn't see how ripping him to shreds, either literally or figuratively, would help our relationship thrive. After the ringing in my ears from the audience cheers had stopped, and I'd managed to shut my mouth after my lower lip hitting the ice, my first thought had been about Christine. Getting to her, comforting her, protecting her, kissing her, fucking her. Teehee. Perfect timing for the loudest truck in the world to drive by. Okay, the last thought had been bad timing, but the hunger was real, raw, and all about the fact we were mates. I couldn't ignore evolution or my primal instincts any longer. To do so would cause me to wither up and die, or at least not perform at my peak. "You're trending," Christine half whispered. She had her phone in her hand, scrolling the internet. Oh yeah? Do I want to know? The headlines are wild. Tampa Bay's best-kept wolf secret. The hottest hockey star on the planet. The wolf is off the market. Just who is the beast's soon-to-be wife? Soon-to-be wife. Those are the nice ones. I won't read you the ugly comments. I fear you'll. She turned her head toward me. Allow your anger to surface? Your anger to surface? I'm not a goddamn werewolf, I insisted like a temper tantrum throwing child while twisting my hand around the steering wheel. It remains to be seen just how furry you get. You really want me to shift and prove my identity? She shrugged, her nose wrinkling. Might be sexy. I had no idea whether or not she was kidding, but her words did turn me on. However, she was right. I was furious that I'd been blindsided by bullshit. Yeah, I'd seen what Saint had gone through, but it was different when it happened to you. I'm sorry you were put through that. Oh, I'm a big girl. Yuck, my mouth sounds are gross today. Do that. Oh, I'm a big girl, and I will kill whichever member of my family let the cat out of the bag. No one will ever find their body. I'd like to see that. I couldn't help but laugh. Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. Yes, ma'am. And you have a match coming up with your brother's team. Yep, I do. Will you be there? Brother's team. Yep, I do. Will you be there? Her sigh was adorable. I wouldn't look right if your fiancé It wouldn't look right if your fiancé wasn't there rooting for you and your team. What was I supposed to say to that empathetic comment? Empathic shit. For you and your team. What was I supposed to say to that emphatic comment? Instead of answering, I pressed down on the accelerator, flying around other vehicles. This is crazy, she said with a dramatic flare, anger just below the surface. We're on the run, baby. From what? We didn't do anything wrong. No, but you're not used to how the press can change things to increase ratings. There are hundreds or thousands of dogs outside my door barking enthusiastically. Wonder what we're barking at today. I wonder. Increase ratings. There are hundreds of increased ratings. Please be quiet, my love. Oh, must be something good. She's doing the bark and then slight growl afterwards, which I do find adorable. Wow. Wow. Starts thinking cute. There are hundreds or thousands of people who think we shouldn't be together, and your father will ensure his point of view is shoved down their throats. Bastard. I won't allow him. Are we? She asked, turning her head toward me. Together, I mean. I shrugged just like any idiot male would do in these situations. I had no easy or correct answer. Not at this point. But she needed one, and damn it, I was going to give it to her. Do you feel what I feel? A pull to be with each other that's so strong you can't explain it? That when we're close to each other, the electricity could light up some city? Or that every time we touched, the hunger grows stronger, so much so you can't breathe? Yes. Then there's your answer. We're engaged. She offered a slight groan. It can't be that simple. We don't know each other. We have a lifetime to do that. This is crazy. What's wrong with crazy, baby? When I tipped my head in her direction, I could clearly see a haze in her eyes as she contemplated my question. I am losing my mind, she said it. Let me say that different. I am losing my mind, she said in passing, as she stared out the window. Then what a way to go. We'd taken her car instead of mine since I had no doubt reporters would already be camped out by mine in hopes of catching a prominent story of their own. Now I was driving like a bat out of hell toward her house. I'd thought of going to a hotel, but we'd need to use a credit card, and we'd been found. My stomach just made a noise, hooray. I'd thought of going to a hotel, but we needed to use a credit card, and we'd be found within a couple of hours. How did you get from the ice across the building to where I was so fast? My lovely Christine had allowed me to drive, and I had to admit, I was having a good time in a getaway car. I constantly glanced in all 3 mirrors to ensure we weren't being followed, and she was even providing me with alternate directions than taking the highway to get to her house. You remember all those attributes they accused me of using? You ran at shifter speed. Oopsies. Missed a whole word. You ran at super shifter speed. Chuckling, I turned my head, noticing she was still panting. But her condition had nothing to do with running through the parking lot. You bet I ran. I sensed you were being chased, and that wasn't something I was going to allow to happen. You could feel that I was stressing? You bet, Bad Bunny, I told her. She was taking deep breaths. So, it's true. What, that we're connected? When she didn't answer right away, I glanced in her direction again. She had a mischievous look on her face. That you're falling in love with me. What? Why do you think... Wait a minute. You were in the bathroom, weren't you? She held up her hand, palm forward. Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. I'd be damned. What in the world was I going to do with her? Remember that communication I talked about? We definitely are going to work on it. Take the next right, the first left after that, and we're there. She was enjoying the hell out of herself while I'd sprinted over people, security guards, bleachers, and had literally skated my way into a maintenance room where I'd yanked off my skates before taking off running. All I'd been able to think about was getting to her, protecting her. Why hadn't I realized that she was in the bathroom? Maybe because I'd been too distraught. Whatever the case, she wasn't getting away from me again. What did you think of the game? I asked, as I made the turn she'd pointed out. I think I was wrong. I think I was wrong. What were you so wrong about? I think I like hockey players. Instead of pulling down her street, I parked on the street just before hers. That's good, since you and I are engaged. Maybe if I said it enough times, she would finally accept it. Oh, who was I kidding? She wasn't the kind of woman who could be pressured. I'd need to convince her several times. Where's my ring? She asked, before opening the door. It's coming, as long as you're a good girl. We slipped out into the night, and she allowed me to take her by the hand. As we stood under the stars, she tipped her head toward the sky and the bright moon. Now, the moon is full. Yes, it is. And look, I'm not a hairy monster. Not yet. That won't happen tonight. She turned toward me, picking at my jersey. But it will need to happen before the wedding. Are you sure you can handle the real me? Oh, I'm certain. But come on, let's just see how much I can handle. She led me down the street toward her house. Fortunately, she'd pocketed her keys. As soon as she slipped them into the lock, I glanced at the moon once again. Maybe it would be easier if I was a beast, subject to the flow of earthly patterns. Yet, I was glad I wasn't a werewolf. That could get awfully messy. Laughing, once inside, I locked the door while she flicked on a single light. "Wait here," she said, pointing to the foyer door. "Yes, ma'am." I watched as she moved from room to room. She was making certain all the blinds were closed. When she returned, she stood in front of me just out of my reach, her mouth twisted in frustration. "You're a wolf." Frustration. "You're a wolf." "Yes." "You love me." "Yes." Frustration. "You're a wolf." "Yes." "You love me." "Yes," I said, deepening my voice. She nodded a couple of times. "You won't lie to me again, like, ever?" "No, I won't." "I'm going to hold you to that. Please do." Hold you to that. Please. To hold you to that. Please do. As soon as she dragged her tongue across her bottom lip, I allowed a slight but very husky growl. "And we're mates." Now I hesitated, uncertain what or if she wanted me to tell her the God's honest truth, but somehow I had a feeling this was all one big test. "Yes, we are." Another nod, and she looked away. Oops, I did that backwards. As soon as she drank, "I'm going to hold you to that. Please do." She wanted me to tell her the honest truth, but somehow I'm going to redo that whole section. Mates. Husky growl. "Wham-a-bam, thank you, ma'am." Husky growl. "And we're mates." Now I hesitated, uncertain what or if she wanted me to tell the God's honest truth, but somehow I had a feeling this was all one big test. "Yes, we are." Another nod, and she looked away. Only for a split second, before getting off a running start. I said that right. She looked away. Only for a split second, before getting off a running start and jumping into my arms. She wrapped both her arms and legs around me, and that was all of the answer I needed. I crushed my mouth over hers, bumping and grinding together as I thrust my tongue inside and stumbled down the hallway toward her bedroom. Okay, so we're gonna mute for a very, very long time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call it because that's enough narration for me today. And then I'm gonna do this tomorrow, which won't be live. And we'll see you in 2 days. Goodbye.